The silent arrival. The night sky above Earth looked normal. Stars blinked quietly and satellites moved slowly across the black. But high above, just beyond the moon's orbit, something had changed. A dark ship had arrived. It made no sound. It gave off no signal. It simply appeared as if it had always been there. It was not large, but it was deadly. The ship carried beings known only in whispers across the galaxy. Executioners. They were not soldiers. Soldiers followed rules. Executioners did not. They were silent tools of the Galactic Council. When words failed, when planets refused to obey, the Council sent the executioners. And now, they had been sent to Earth. Inside the ship, 3 figures stood in silence. They had no names, only designations. Their leader, Unit 1, watched a screen showing Earth's surface. "Primitive," said Unit 2. Its voice was flat and cold. "Still using combustion engines, still divided by borders. Still a threat," Unit 1 replied. "The Council fears their growth. They call themselves humans. Too fast, too bold." Unit 3 adjusted its armor. "They think war makes them strong. We will show them silence is stronger." Below, in a small military station hidden deep in the mountains, a signal was picked up. A technician named Tom sat up in his chair. He stared at the screen, confused. A shape had appeared out of nowhere, far beyond the normal patrol zones. "General," Tom said quickly into the comms, "we've got an unidentified object, no signature, no broadcast, and it's not ours." Within minutes, the quiet base turned into a storm of activity. Humans didn't ignore strange things in orbit. They had learned long ago that being ready was better than being sorry. But they didn't panic either. Instead, something else happened. Something the aliens didn't expect. Far from Earth, in the heart of the executioner's ship, Unit 1 frowned. "They are not sending diplomats," it said. "No," Unit 2 replied. "They are sending them." Unit 3 paused. "Already? So soon?" The executioners had studied humans. They had read about their armies, their machines, and their history of war. But there were stories, strange ones, stories about things the humans only used when they were truly afraid. Weapons not listed in any database, units not listed on any map. The humans called them by many names: ghost teams, black shadows, hellborn. But the most feared name, the one whispered in alien prisons and battlefields, was Boogeymen. Unit 1 looked again at the screen. Dropships were leaving Earth, fast, silent, without any identification. They headed directly toward the orbiting ship. No warning, no contact, no fear. "They are not negotiating," Unit 2 said. "They are sending monsters," Unit 3 whispered. The executioners felt something strange. It was not pain. It was not confusion. It was something they had never expected to feel. Fear. Back on Earth, in a deep underground facility, a group of humans stood in the shadows. Their uniforms had no symbols. Their faces were calm. One of them, a tall man with quiet eyes, checked his weapon. "Same drill?" he asked. "Same drill." Another answered. "Get in. Don't let them speak. If they try to run, end them." These were not normal soldiers. They had no medals. No news ever mentioned their names. They existed in the silence between wars. Their job was not to fight battles. Their job was to erase threats before the battles even began. Above, the alien ship shifted. It tried to cloak. It tried to vanish again. But the human team was already inside. Silent as shadows, they had breached the hull. The executioners turned. Their sensors blinked red. How did they? The question never finished. One by one, the lights inside the ship went out. The Council had sent killers. Earth had sent something worse. What lurks in the dark inside the alien ship, the silence, became deadly. The executioners were built to be fearless, emotionless tools of death. But something felt wrong. Their perfect senses, sharp, precise, began to fail. Sounds vanished. Signals dropped. Internal systems flickered. Unit 1 raised its arm. Form defensive circle. The three executioners moved back to back. Their weapons hummed with alien energy, scanning for movement. But the air itself felt heavier now, like something unseen was watching them. Unit 2 turned. There are no life signs. They're here, Unit 3 said quietly. That's worse. Then, without warning, the lights shut off. Not dimmed, shut off. Completely. Pitch black. Unit 1 switched to infrared. Nothing. Night vision. Static. Sensors. Interference. A whisper echoed through the chamber. It was Inuit, no known language, and yet they understood it. You shouldn't have come. Unit 2 fired its weapon blindly. The beam crackled through the darkness, hitting nothing. Silence followed. Then, click. Behind Unit 3. It turned, but too slow. Something pulled it back into the darkness. No scream, no sound, just gone. Unit 1 reached out. 3? But there was no answer. Unit 2 backed up, trying to activate its teleport recall. Too late. A shadow swept from the side. Fast, precise. A blade? A claw? Neither Unit 1 nor Unit 2 saw it clearly. But when the light flickered back on for half a second, Unit 2's body was hanging in midair, then dropped motionless. Unit 1 stood alone. It had fought warlords. It had ended kings. But now, for the first time in its existence, it was alone. And hunted. Who are you? Unit 1 demanded into the dark. Footsteps echoed behind him. Calm. Controlled. A voice spoke again. We are the reason your kind speaks, of Earth with fear. Unit 1 turned and fired, but nothing was there. Then, a hand reached from the ceiling, grabbed the weapon, and snapped it like dry wood. Unit 1 leapt back, activating emergency protocols, but something moved through the yaw. Ship fast like wind made solid. He struck out but hit only air. More whispers. Your mission is over. One by one, the ship's systems shut down. Power, life support, comms, escape pod locks. All disabled. On Earth, high in the mountain base, the technician Tom watched the ship. Go dark, it's done, he whispered. The general behind him nodded slowly. They never stood a chance. Meanwhile, back aboard the alien vessel, the last remaining executioner crawled toward a control panel, damaged and bleeding. A strange thing for such a creature. Unit 1 pressed a final signal. A beacon. A warning. Do not return to Earth. They are not alone. They have monsters. And then silence. A moment later, a shadowy human shape stepped over the executioner. Calm, breathing steady. The man whispered one word into a comm device, cleaned, and vanished into the dark. The Council's panic far across the stars. The Galactic Council sat in a floating chamber of glass and light. The members, leaders of 100 species, watched the screen in front of them with growing dread. The executioner ship had gone dark. No communication. No signal. Just one short message. Do not return to Earth. They are not alone. They have monsters. It was impossible. The executioners never failed. They were legends. Tools the Council had used to crush rebellion, punish defiance, and end wars. Before they started, a reptilian delegate from the Cryax Alliance hissed, "This is unacceptable. Earth is a minor world." The feathered representative of the Volari tapped her claws on the table. "We gave them warnings. We offered them a place. They refused." They did more than refuse. The insectoid member from the Polari hive buzzed. They dared to grow. The High Speaker, an old gray-skinned being with eyes like dim stars, raised a bony hand. Silence fell. The humans were warned, he said. We sent the executioners not to destroy but to remind them of their place. A mechanical delegate from the Synthax Order interrupted. And they answered with shadows. This is not military force. This is something else. What are these boogeymen? No one answered, because no one knew. One of the junior aides from the corner, a young thin being with shaking hands, spoke softly. The humans have stories. Stories about things that live in the dark. They say these things protect them, but not like armies, like predators. The Valari representative tilted her head. You're saying they made myths real? No, the aide said. Worse, they became the myths. Murmurs filled the hall. Suddenly the room dimmed. A new signal had appeared. One of the outer defense beacons had been triggered, then another, then 5 more. Ships were coming. Not human fleets, not carriers or drones. Small, sleek craft, black as void. No signatures, no ID. They flew fast and they flew in formation, straight toward the council's outer rim. They're sending something, the Cryax said, voice tight. No, the Synthax corrected. They're not sending anything. He pointed to the screen. They're coming themselves. Panic gripped the council. The humans were not responding with diplomacy. They were not sending peace talks or envoys. They were coming to finish the conversation the executioners had started. Back on Earth in the secret base, the leader of the Shadow Unit cleaned his gear in silence. He looked up as a new file arrived on his display. Target, Council, Core Zone. Mission, contain, disrupt, remind. He nodded once. Another shadow stepped from the hallway and handed him a fresh weapon. When do we leave? The second agent asked. Tonight, the leader said. They thought Earth had soldiers. He smiled slightly. They forgot what happens when the lights go out. Into the lion's den. The stars above the Galactic Council's capital world sparkled, like diamonds. It was a place untouched by war for thousands of years. No conflict had ever reached this heart of power. Protected by fleets, guarded by codes, shielded by arrogance, it was thought to be untouchable. But that night, the impossible happened. No alarms sounded, no warning lights blinked. The first human dropship slipped through the planetary shield, as if it wasn't there. Inside, 5 black-armored figures sat in silence. No emblems marked their suits. No lights blinked on their weapons. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. They were the Boogeymen. Earth's secret answer to every unsolvable problem. The leader checked the clock on his wrist once. 6 minutes, he whispered. The others nodded. On the planet's surface, the council still debated. We must send more ships. We must surrender. We should speak with the humans directly. The chamber was filled with shouting, until the lights died. Darkness fell so fast it felt like reality itself had blinked out. Some thought it was a power failure. Some thought it was an attack. Only a few understood the truth. The humans were already here. The floor beneath the council's feet rumbled. Then, nothing. Silence. And that's when they heard it. Footsteps, 1 pair, then 5, not running, just walking, steady, calm, unafraid. Security forces ran to intercept. They never returned. Doors locked themselves, screens shut down. Comms fell quiet, and into the center of the great hall stepped the Boogeymen. The delegates froze in place. One of the human figures stepped forward. His voice was not loud, but it echoed in every ear. You sent executioners to Earth. No one replied. You thought we were weak. A Cryax delegate stood up trembling. We didn't mean... The human tilted his head slightly. You did. Another delegate, the Synthax machine, clicked in distress. What do you want? The human paused, then answered, respect. He raised a small black device and placed it on the table. A hologram flickered to life. Images of the captured executioners, their weapons broken, their bodies powerless. The human spoke again. This is your only warning. Earth does not kneel. We don't start wars, but we finish them. He pressed a second button. Outside, far above the capital world, the sky lit up with a strange glow. It was not a weapon. It was a message. Across dozens of council planets, satellites and stations were now under silent human control. Systems shut down. Vaults opened. Secrets spilled. The Boogeymen had arrived. And they weren't here to destroy. They were here to remind. In the shadows of the chamber, one small delegate, barely noticed among giants, whispered, "What are they?" An older delegate, eyes wide with fear, answered, "They are what comes after fear. They are why we tell our young not to look under the bed." The message etched in silence. As the boogeymen stood in the council chamber, none dared move. The message had been delivered without fire, without blood, but the fear was more complete than any war ever waged. That fear wasn't born from violence, it was born from precision, from control, from the realization that humans could walk into the heart of the galaxy's power and leave untouched. The lead human looked across the room at the trembling delegates. He didn't shout, he didn't threaten, he simply spoke. "You believed Earth was behind. You believed our chaos was weakness. You believed our refusal to bow meant we didn't understand power." He paused. "You were wrong." No one dared to speak. "Humanity does not conquer," he said. "We survive. We adapt. And when the universe pushes too far, we become what you fear." He took a step forward. "We don't need fleets, we don't need armies. All we need is a whisper." The lights flickered. Behind him, the 4 other boogeymen raised small projectors. Images appeared in midair. Council files, secret deals, war crimes, planetary subjugations hidden from the galaxy. The Valari delegate collapsed into her chair. "How did you get this?" The human looked at her. "You kept your eyes on our guns. You should have watched our shadows." Then they turned to leave. One of the delegates called after them, desperately, voice cracking. "What happens if we try again?" The human paused at the door. "You won't." Outside, across council worlds, broadcasts were hijacked. The same message played in every language, every dialect, every system. "We are humanity. We don't invade, we don't dominate. But if you come for us, you won't find a battlefield. You'll find your secrets exposed, your systems collapsed, and your fears given shape. We are not what you see in the light. We are what waits in the dark." Back on Earth, the mission team returned to the mountain base silently. No cheers, no parades. Just quiet nods from those who understood the war that had been avoided, not with missiles, but with message and myth. The team leader placed his weapon on the rack, removed his helmet, and exhaled. The technician Tom, still monitoring from the command center, whispered, "Did it work?" The leader didn't smile, but his voice was calm. "They'll never look at us the same again." Echoes from Earth's past. The galaxy went silent after the boogeymen left the council chamber. No retaliation came, no statements were released, no further missions were launched toward Earth. The council locked down its communications. Security was doubled across its core planets, but none of it changed what had already taken place. Humans had walked into their stronghold and walked out untouched. Yet far from the capital, in a forgotten part of the galaxy, an ancient listening post came online. It hadn't activated in centuries. Deep underground, beneath layers of dust and stone, a screen flickered to life. It had been built by the first ones, those who had come long before the council, before any known empire, and it had just received a signal, a human signal. But this one wasn't from Earth. It was from somewhere older, somewhere buried. A planet, long thought dead. A world erased from maps during one of humanity's darkest wars. A hidden outpost, once a black site for human experiments, was active again, and it was broadcasting one word: awakened. Back on Earth, in the deep base beneath the mountains, the technician Tom looked at the new transmission with confusion. "Sir," he called, "we've picked up a ping from Archive Site 9. The team leader turned slowly. "That's not possible," he said. "Site 9 was shut down 200 years ago." "Then who's sending the signal?" Tom zoomed in on the screen. "It's not a distress call. It's a release code. Level black clearance." The room fell quiet. Everyone knew what level black meant: things too dangerous to be stored on Earth, things not meant to be woken. The leader moved quickly. "Seal this room. Send a ghost team now. In orbit around Archive Site 9, deep beneath its ice-covered surface, something old began to stir. Machines hummed, cryovaults cracked, and a voice, human, but twisted by time, spoke for the first time. In 2 centuries, they thought I was too dangerous to keep on Earth, but the galaxy's fear has changed the rules. A hand reached from the cryo chamber, not fully human anymore. Back at the Council's secure tower, an alert appeared. Unknown human asset detected. Classification, Obsidian. Status, Rogue. The delegates stared at the blinking message. This wasn't another squad. This wasn't another shadow unit. This was something even the Boogeymen didn't control. And it was free. What have they unleashed now? The Volari delegate whispered. The technician back on Earth looked up from the screen, pale. It's not one of ours anymore, he said. It was human once, but it's something else now. The team leader nodded slowly. Then we don't just need shadows. He turned to the weapons vault, unlocked a second level that hadn't been touched. In decades, we need the ones we buried. Humanity's forgotten weapon, far beyond any star-charted system on the icy surface of Archive Site 9, a figure walked through the ruins of the old human outpost. His armor was unlike anything worn by modern soldiers, ancient, scarred, fused, with alien tech never meant to be tested. This was Project Obsidian, once a human. Now something else. Designed in Earth's darkest hour, when humanity feared extinction, not to fight wars, but to end them before they began. He had been placed in deep stasis when peace returned, hidden, buried, erased from memory. But the fear echoing across the galaxy had reawakened him, and now he was walking again. On Earth, deep in the mountain facility, the Boogeymen stood before, a sealed chamber, rusted cold with black markings no one dared repaint. The team leader inserted a key known only to a few living humans. Inside were old files, armor suits heavier than warships and weapons banned by every Earth treaty. One of the shadow agents whispered, "We said we'd never open this room again." "We didn't," the leader replied. "The galaxy did. In the Council's war, chamber." Panic spread as new signals lit up the map. One by one, secret Council labs, vaults, and shadow projects, sites no human should have known about, were being accessed. Not destroyed, absorbed, turned off like lights. And all the data was going somewhere back to Archive Site 9. The high speaker's voice trembled. It's not just a soldier. It's a weapon that learns. A junior aide gasped. Then who stops it? In orbit, a human warship appeared for the first time, not hidden, not cloaked. It hovered in open view over the capital planet. A transmission came through one voice. "Calm. This is Captain Elias, Earth Shadow Command. Project Obsidian has awakened. We didn't send it. You did." The Council's delegates froze. "If you want peace again," the voice said, "you'll listen now." The screen showed a black-armored figure standing above a ruined Council outpost, surrounded by data cores, surrendered guards, and silence. "We're not asking you to fear us," the captain said. "We're asking you to understand. Earth isn't what you thought. We are not the center of power. We are the edge of survival. And when pushed," he paused, "we become the monsters you fear." On Archive Site 9, Obsidian looked toward the stars. He did not smile. He did not speak. But in the sky, Council satellites turned off one by one. He wasn't destroying the galaxy. He was reminding it that Earth's silence had always been mercy. Back on Earth, the Boogeymen watched the final signal return from space. "Is it over?" the technician Tom asked quietly. The leader nodded once. "For now." He looked out over the mountains. "Let them remember. Let them tell their children. Earth doesn't send armies. We send warnings. And in the shadows, those warnings walk.